YouTube viewers. This is Lion King CMSL. I'm playing Railroads Online. Right now I'm standing outside of the South Jersey and Western's office here for the Narrow Gauge Railroad. And we have been tasked to take the coal train that's sitting over there, 30 cars plus the cabin car, 31 cars in total, over to the the iron smelter, the iron ore works, the iron works. I can't speak. Apparently the crew left it there, but they did fuel it up in a full tank of water, so we're going to get our day started. I've been assured that all the switches have been set, so we're going to start out and get this train running. Now, unfortunately, the way this climax is set up, I cannot just climb in through the cab doors. Let me turn our dynamos on. Okay. I should probably set the reverser before I take the brake off. Doesn't matter though. Let's see if these guys did their job right and set any handbrakes. I would say they did not set any handbrakes. Oh boy. Good thing the road foreman didn't see that. I'm supposed to set at least 8. But the first 2 aren't set. Now I'm going to say there are none set. Nope. First 3 are not set. Well, actually, the first 4 aren't set. So we'll get back in the cab and I might be able to get in the cab from this side because there's a track right here. I know I am breaking all sorts of rules by walking in the gauge. So let's open our. I just wish these windows were open. They don't. Oh, we go. And here we go. For those who are curious, the mini map on the lower right is from Railroads Online Extended. Being I play solo, I like to know where I am in relation to the right of way, so I can switch easier instead of setting the train up and then walking back, and just easier on me. Okay, let's take a look at our train and see what it's doing. 30 cars makes for a nice long train. So, fortunately, it's flat, so that the climax shouldn't have any problem hauling these. So there we go. 30 coal loads. One of the TBSs. And that's not Turner Broadcasting System. It means temporary block station. I use the telegraph offices as block stations so I can get to a bunch of switches easily. I don't have to, walk, down the railroad. You also notice that my trees are cut back. Although it's a video game, I try to run the railroad as a real railroad. Not even as a 3-foot narrow gauge, but as a class 1. That's being I work for Amtrak and I work for the Cape May Seashore Lines. Cape May Seashore Lines is a regional short line. And the owner taught me how to railroad. And then, of course, working for Amtrak class 1, you just didn't mess around. The trees are going to be cut back off the right of way. So it's treat it more like a real railroad than I do a video game where I can mess around. I will admit, though, there were times I moved cars around, and especially with the Climax or the Heisler or the Porter, where it's just I don't have the tender, a tenderless engine, basically. I will re-rail it and go to and just teleport myself somewhere and put it back on the track instead of driving the train, running the engine all the way back. It just makes sense. Now, being I have a cabin car on this thing, I can't really do that because I'd have to move both things, and I'll have to run the engine all the way back. That train is still going around that curve. There's the end. There's the cabin car just coming around the curve. This track here is the cutoff to bypass the freight yard. And some people say, well, why? I said, well, you get around the congestion. The Pennsy was doing it in southern New Jersey with the Westville cutoff to get around Camden. And the UP has one, I think it's called the Bodie cutoff. They get past Denver. If you don't have to go through Denver, why go through Denver? Bypass it. And that's so for normally for the coal trains and stuff heading to the iron ore, the iron works, or the anything over this side, which would also be the oil fields and oil refinery, they don't have to go through the yard. The only thing it would need to go in the yard would be the locomotive and the caboose, or cabin car, as they say. So, yes, it's a double track main line. Again, that's me living in the Pennsylvania Railroad's territory and the Redding's territory, northeast U.S., where a lot of the railroads were double track, where there were heavy duty main lines. Now, the South Jersey and Western, in my fictional history world, is a class 1. It's equivalent to the Pennsy, basically. And they bought a narrow gauge railroad and upgraded it to standard gauge operating procedures. And before anybody says anything, the Pennsylvania Railroad owned a narrow gauge railroad out in Ohio. I don't think they did what I'm doing here fictionally, but there was 3-foot narrow gauge equipment labeled for the Pennsy. So I'm not that far off, other than the way that, I have this set up. I mean, if I had signals, there'd definitely be signals on this railroad. Again, the SJ&W, for whatever reason, in my mind, didn't standard gauge it. Maybe there were reasons, couldn't acquire the land. Some of the cuts were too narrow or narrow gauge. And that was, the standard gauge, and that's happened a lot. But that's one of the reasons the East Broadtop stayed narrow gauge for so long, is there were cuts and tunnels they just couldn't widen. So my feeling is that the SJ&W just thought, okay, we'll make it like a class 1 railroad, but it's just standard gauge. You had the Sandy River and Ransley Lakes, a 2-foot gauge up in Maine. That they were basically a class 1 railroad, but they were 2-foot gauge. So it's been done. They had signals. They had ball signals. There's an old saying in model railroading: you can find a prototype for it somewhere. If you can think it, it probably happened. Now, granted, the top speed on the Climax is 11 miles an hour, so I'm probably putzing along at about 4, which yard speed is around 5, so that's one thing I like about this game. It gives you the feeling of really being on a locomotive, the distances involved. Now, Is it a locomotive simulator? No, it is not. It, there's no force feedback or anything like that. I consider it a simulator on how to run a railroad. How do you make your profits? Now, granted, you can't lose money. There's nothing that takes, other than buying equipment, there's no expenses. So you're always gaining money. There should be some way to lose money. Laying track, repairing equipment. I mean, I go 15% here. So, yeah. But that's my belief that there should be a way. Now, it used to be when the game first came out, you would lose like $2 a tree for every tree you cut down, which didn't make sense because you'd sell the lumber in real life. You would make you might make a profit, but you would probably break even because you cut down the tree, you got to pay the guy to cut the tree down, but then you'd sell the lumber and you would make money. You may recover that cost, if not a little bit more. The other thing that they don't replicate in game is in most I think in all railroads today, you get paid for picking up freight. You get paid as the originating railroad and paid as the delivering railroad. The delivering railroad gets the lion's share of the money, but the railroad that started the process, that picked up the cars initially, gets paid for that. So I think when you pick up a load, you should be getting money. Maybe one half of what the delivery price is, but that would be a way of accurately representing, again, with a financial loss. It could be, let's say, $10 an hour or something, $100 an hour for crew costs, or just operational expenses. And I'm sorry about the clock chime. It's 1 o'clock, so. Still coming into the siding here. Yeah, 30 cars is a long train. I do not believe I'm going to fit. No, I'm not fitting into the siding at all. Nope. Helps to hit the right key, Don. Okay. Actually, at 40% with 30 cars, that would have been like 7 cars of with handbrakes. I almost made it. I should have pulled this train up further. That's right. I hate these hoppers. The handbrakes don't face the same direction as the other cars. Yeah. And yes, all the cars are in sequential order initially, anyway. The storage tracks where I'm putting them on are all at least 20 cars long. Yes, the Ironworks is fully stocked with lumber, raw iron, and coal, and I'm just bringing extra supplies in, especially coal. That was always available. So again, it's more as working as a real railroad instead of just like a game. So we're just now it's just playing the waiting game. Let's see. Then of course the trees are all mostly cut from around like the smelter, the ironworks, coal mine, iron ore mine, because they they die back. I mean, with all the pollution and slag and whatnot, like all this grass should be dirt or brown. Excuse me. Now I believe when I come around this curve far enough, uh, the last car will clear that telegraph office. The reason telegraph office is there, it's not for the switch because it's a yard, but it's there for the switch. So I know when the last car has cleared it. I am not going to clear that. But I think I can clear with 10 cars. I'm not going to clear with 20. Oh no, I'm okay. I am going to clear. Am I optical illusion over there? Yes, I will. Because other hoppers are the cars that are in storage. As you can see, there's a space opening up. I relayed that the yard. I was not happy with. It was once a double-ended yard, but tracks weren't long enough for storage. For storing 20-car trains. So I had to relay it. Made a single-ended yard, which makes sense. You could say that shack is also a switchman's shanty. And hit the brakes there. This train is going. He should have cleared. In actuality, he would have never cleared this. You would not be able to throw these points because he's almost on top of them. But I can see he's clear. His flange is clear, so I should be able to throw it without reeling the car. Boom. Okay. Nope, don't want to go there. We want to go in here. Yep. Do I have to blow the whistle and ring the bell? No, there's nobody here but me. No, there's no other players around. I should have blown the whistle when I stopped, but I didn't. Again, that's being a professional railroader. So, reeling its ugly head. It sounds like I'm going 100 miles an hour, but I'm not. It's just these geared engines always sound like they're doing about 500 miles an hour more than they are. 40% of fuel. Excuse me, 22% more fuel. Uh, no, obviously I should have someone riding the point, but being one person, I can't do that. See now where this Minimap comes in handy. I'm putting way too much brake on. So you see right there where I'm out here, I'm in the clear. And it's almost exactly 2 cars. That's where I want to be. Let's see. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those 10, 20 cars. Okay, and then we just grab the last 10 cars and move them forward, and then drop the cabin car off. Shouldn't have jumped off a moving engine, especially when there's nobody at the controls, but brake set, so I know it's not going too far. grabbing the controls at times is, and I opened up the cylinder cocks. I opened the throttle too much. Excuse me for yawning. Okay. The track that I'm on now was originally a storage track. And I decided to make it another passing siding or a thoroughfare track. Because that's made it easier. And in real life, you would see a situation like this. You can see the extra iron, raw iron cars and the extra lumber cars. Now there'll be 50 cars stored here for coal, which is half the coal amount needed. Because each car carries 10, but the ironworks takes 1,000 coal. So just set up that if the ironworks starts running low, we can load it up pretty fully before we have to run back to the coal mines. In fact, as I had another player, I could be loading this up with coal, or somebody could do that, and the other person could be going up to the coal mine to get more coal. I don't know why I'm yawning. So this is where the railroads online extended comes in handy. Yep, stop too soon. Oh, sugar. Just realized that it's got a double link. I gotta pull forward. When I pulled the link out of pulled the pin, I pulled the pin off this hopper, but the link stayed with it. It shouldn't have done that, but it does every so often. Oh boy. No, we don't need the sand. Okay. Link it up and take the brakes off. Sorry about the really weird camera movement. Uh, when I yawn, I end up moving the camera a weird way. I had 9 cars fouling the road lead. Yeah, no, I'm not saying much of anything. I'm just waiting for this train to get where it needs to go. So, so okay, stop here. One thing I did learn is apply the brakes before you unhitch. Because you get a slight grade, that car could be going all the way. Same thing I learned. You got a car on the ground. You can put the handbrake on. Put the handbrake on before you re-rail it. Save you a lot of grief. Unless the car is rolling towards the remaining portion of the train, then disregard what I just said. Okay, one, of, one of the reasons I do it is to keep. If I have to reverse the car direction, I don't have a problem. So 1, 2, 3. I need 4 cars. 3 in a bit, actually. There was kids in the background. Again, I have to apologize for the jerky, the weird camera movements. Not intentional by any stretch of the imagination. It's a relatively warm day, and I'm sitting in this recliner. The way this yard is set up, there's a Y track, a reverse loop, actually two reverse loops if you want to get right down to it. So where am I headed? Okay, for a minute I thought I was headed down the wrong track. Like, I think I did the capacity on the yard. I could put about 75 coal hoppers in here. So, not that I have a reason to put 75 coal hoppers in here. I mean, ideally, it would be nice to put 100 in here, but there's no reason to. There's not enough room. The neighbor's kids screaming. There's more raw iron cars. See, I know I can put at least 60 cars in here because each one of these tracks is 20 cars long. And here's the that train and this train are both 20 cars. You can see I can we'll use this train. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in. So that's 12 there. Oh, 6, 7, 8. So that's 14. That's another 14. That's another 28 cars. And so I've got, but that's 78 cars. You can probably possibly squeeze 80 hoppers in here. That would be filling it to the brim, and I don't see a reason for doing that. And yes, I do have markers on the markers are on the cabin car, and I should be like you would be doing that, but I am. Oops. Helps unpin the coupler. Oh, that was the thing I forgot to check out. We're not going to worry about it. So I'm going to pull out of here. One thing I do, like you're supposed to do in real railroading, is to normal your switches. And I set my switches so it goes out to empty railroad. So you see, I can pipe, and I really can't put another core in here without that switch. So yeah, it's 88 cars. 78 cars would be a lot, but it would be doable. I just don't see the reason. There's no reason really to have 50 loaded hoppers sitting here, other than like I just want to be ready for when I need to get product. Okay, back up. Back up the engine to the cabin car. That track there is a lead track. It's put in case you're working, say maybe putting coal in and guys got lumber. I just slammed into that cabin car hard. And I have a feeling there's a link there. A couple. I was right. So if you were, let's say, loading 5 hopper cars and a guy come in with a load of wood, lumber, and he needs to go up to the oil refinery, you, in theory, could pull, I think it's about 10 cars in the clear, then he could still pull out, you know. Again, it's set up more for heavy industrial use, you know, with 5, 6 players instead of one. But maybe I can get more people to play and, you know, be cruise with me. And I'm going to slam into that cabin car again. And I just did. That's one of the bad things about playing with yourself. You're sometimes not paying attention. Fortunately, it doesn't matter all that much because I'm the only one, right? You know, so I don't have to worry about where somebody is on the railroad. No, I don't have to worry about blowing the horn or the whistle or ringing the bell or anything, or presetting switches because I know nobody's going to, you know, have to possibly use those switches and they're set the wrong way, and then they go into a siding at full throttle. I can set it any way I want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna run this all the way back. I'm just gonna park it in the engine facilities here at the ironworks and then call it. Again, there's another lead track. You can see it on the mini map for the pipes and tool chest, tool crates. It just gets people out of the way. One thing I do love about the update is they give you a 3-way switch. I just wish we had different angles of crossings other than 40 or 45 and 90. And I wish they'd call them crossings instead of crossovers. They're not crossovers, they're crossings. But and of course, they also made the switches throw automatically if you're trailing through the wrong way. Used to be if you trailed through them the wrong way, you'd derail. As soon as you hit the frog. I mean, not, when you got to the points, when you hit the frog. Yep. Make sure I'm going into the right place. You think I should have my PCs by now, right? Because I'm the one who laid out the railroad. But, nope. Now sometimes that's when I'm not so realistic as I just, run through like that. I said with this engine and the Heisler, the ladders, if you're not near a switch or something, you can't climb into the engine. You have to come through the wood load, the tank and the wood load. So it's like, okay, and there we go. I want to stop at the stop. Through the engine house door. Yeah, that wasn't realistic. It's going too fast coming into this track. Okay, you're going to call it there. Central reverser, center of the reverser, brakes one. Kill the dynamo. Now this is a double track engine house, 2-track engine house, but I only use one. The fiction being that this is a workshop, and Lion Iron has got a shay. So that shay is dead slow, and Class A shay. Okay, I'm gonna call it here if I take the markers off because the train is parked. I thank you for watching, and the intro music, that is John Philip Sousa's Congress Hall March, written for Congress Hall Hotel in Cape May, New Jersey, where they used to stay and practice on the beach in Cape May. Performed by the President's own U.S. Marine Band. It's a government band, so it's used without copyright restrictions. Again, I thank you for watching. Hope to see you some other time. Goodbye.